Hi everyone, welcome back to the Daytona office hours. As always, we will go over the latest updates in our open source projects. So let's go to the commit history, starting off with last Wednesday and our previous office hours. First, we had a minor fix in the dashboard where sometimes duplicate monthly periods occurred in the cost breakdown chart on the billing page. This was resolved promptly. Next, we had an edge case when propagating snapshots when there were less than 3 available runners that satisfied the necessary conditions. Our colleague Mirko spotted the issue and fixed it. Next, we added an additional safety check during our validation phase when reopening usage periods for sandboxes that are not started or stopped. As my colleague Toma outlined here, this was just an additional safety measure, a bit of redundancy just to make sure, because realistically this condition would never happen in real time. Next, we refactored the flow for creating personal organizations for newly created users. Specifically, there was a problem when creating personal organizations for system admin users. This is now resolved. Next, we had a few improvements in the docs made by our external contributor, James. So he improved the docs readability in light mode, and he also replaced some invalid links in the documentation pages. The next 3 PRs were made by our colleague Toma, which focused on improving performance and stability of the proxy application. Next, we introduced auto deletion to sandboxes. For this, we can actually go to the documentation. In the Sandbox management page, you can find the automated lifecycle management section. Previously, we had auto stopping and auto archiving. Now we also have auto deleting. As you can see here, this parameter sets the amount of time after which a continuously stopped sandbox will be automatically deleted. By default, sandboxes will never be automatically deleted. So only if the user specifically configures the auto deletion interval, then these sandboxes will be actually deleted after the specified interval. So there's a few values that can be set here, apart from like just setting, for example, as you can see here in the example, that the sandbox should be auto-deleted after 60 minutes or 1 hour after being continuously stopped. You can also set -1 or basically any negative value to manually disable the auto-delete functionality, or you can set the interval to 0, which means that the sandbox will be deleted immediately upon stopping. And again, if you do not set this parameter at all, the sandbox will not be deleted automatically. Okay, what do we have next? We had a few PRs relating to our MCP server, which aligned it with our current feature set. Next, our colleague Ivan spotted an issue when listing volumes in an organization using JWT authentication, so this is now resolved. Next, a very big PR actually was made by our contributor Luca, which was a major redesign to our dashboard, which focused on a redesigned sidebar and a completely updated sandboxes page. As you can see here on my screen. So now we have a collapsible sidebar and a fresh look to the table. So all of the content in the table is fairly familiar, but a new addition is when you click on a row in the table, you can expand the details for each sandbox. At the moment, it just displays the metadata for each sandbox, and optionally if there are any labels set. But stay tuned because we are going to be adding a lot more functionality to this drawer. moving on. Yeah, this PR was again from an external contributor. Major props to Wayne for improving and optimizing the build process for our runner application. We always appreciate it when the community contributes to our project. Next, related to the auto delete feature, we expanded the toast animation in the UI to include the auto delete information if it's configured on a sandbox. This way, for example, if the auto delete interval is set to 30 minutes, if a user stops a sandbox using the dashboard, they will notice this warning. And if this was not something that they intended to do, they can react and manually disable the auto delete, which would then prevent the sandbox from being deleted. Next, these 3 PRs were just minor cleanup PRs relating to the dashboard redesign. So there's no need to go into more detail there. Next, our colleague Ivan added an additional API endpoint that checks if a specified image is being used anywhere in the system. And this is very convenient for cleanup services that can check if there are any obsolete image entries. Next, our colleague Mirko expanded our SDK a little bit, and now you can activate inactive snapshots using the SDK, not only using the dashboard application. Next, we tweaked a little bit our sandbox orchestration when starting sandboxes, specifically in a case where the current runner that the sandbox is assigned on is not ready. We modified a little bit the logic for determining which runners to move the sandbox to. And finally, we have 2 fresh PRs from our colleague Goran, who first improved the tracing in our system. More specifically, he enabled express instrumentation and also optimized batch processing for the tracing. And also, he resolved some terminal connection issues that would occur because sometimes the WebSocket connection would be closed when multi-byte UTF-8 characters were split across buffer reads, causing the browser WebSocket to close with the error that he pasted here. He did his magic and resolved the issue, and this is now live in our production. And basically, that's it for the current state of the product. And that's a wrap on today's office hours. If you have any follow-up questions, hit us up on Slack or Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching, and see you again next week.